Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conveying Progress, a podcast from the experts at Benda Manufacturing. I'm your host, Tyler Kern. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now, today we're talking project management, why it's so important, what it is in the first place, and what the benefits of it are. And joining me is our expert today. Her name is Amanda Dahshan, and she is the Senior Project Manager for Benda Manufacturing. Amanda, thank you so much for joining the show. Welcome.
Hi, Tyler. Thanks for doing this with me.
Absolutely. Well, I'm thrilled to have you on the show today, Amanda. So let's start off here. Tell us just a little bit about your history in project management and how you got to the role that you're currently in today.
Sure. So, when I was hired with Benda Manufacturing, I was hired as a technical sales engineer. I did this for like 2 months, and then Benda had a big project where the original project manager on that project left the company. So my boss kind of believed in me and in my skills and talents. So he kind of took a risk, and he decided to put me on the project, especially that I had a couple of years of experience in engineering in general from my previous jobs. So he thought I can do this. That was my first project as a project manager ever. So I took the project. I worked hard on it. It took me a couple months to understand it, contact vendors, try to make our customer comfortable with me, working with me and the team. I put a team together. I designed the project, sent it to engineering. They worked on it. We built the equipment. It was a whole line. So it was like a brand new facility, and it was like a whole new line. Our customer wasn't very knowledgeable about the project either, so they kind of depended on us with this. So I took it from A to Z. The customers came to our facility. We tested the equipment. Everything went well. They were very happy with us, and my boss was very happy with me that I was able to handle the whole project without really asking for anyone's help, and I just did it the way I think it should go. And it worked out. That was the first project for me, so they decided to give me another chance and give me another project where they had it for months and nobody was touching it. It went sideways. The customer were very unsatisfied, and they wanted us to come up with a solution. So I used my previous skills there, and I used a lot of math that I haven't used since I graduated from the university, and I came up with a concept that Benda never done before, and they were all kind of worried or scared to do it, but that was we kind of didn't have any other option, so we had to go with it. So engineering took the concept, they designed it, and we built it, and it worked out really well. Actually, the customer at the end of the project thanked us so much, and they wanted to put a good review for us on our website. So that's when they made a decision that I should be a project manager handling most of these projects, especially the complicated ones. And at some point, I was the only project manager in the company, so I managed 35 to 40 projects at once. But now we have 2 other project managers that work with me, and so we're trying to split the projects between us. But yeah, this is how it started.
That's really incredible. So you kind of jumped into the deep end and learned on the job, which is really, really incredible. So tell me a little bit more about why project management is such an important topic to discuss and how beneficial it's been for you at Benda.
So every successful company must have a project manager for their projects for multiple reasons. One of the reasons are your customer needs to have a point of contact. One person. So before I started, we didn't really have an official project manager. So the sales rep used to contact the customer, the engineer used to contact the customer, the shipping and receiving coordinator used to contact so multiple contacts, which makes the customer confused, don't know whom to contact, they don't know whom to trust. So a project management or the project manager is the person who contacts the customer. We gain their trust. We collect all the information from them. We transfer it to our team. We do the same from our team to our customer. So we make that connection between the customer and our team to come up with the product that they're looking for. I've been in contact with with almost all customers now, and I am building relationship with all of them. And the communication between us and them kind of minimizes the mistakes that we make here. We get all the information correct from the beginning, and I make sure that the customer is. I give the customer progress or status of everything we're doing here to just make them comfortable.
Absolutely. So when you talk about, just getting everything started off on the right foot, right? And keeping things moving and having that right understanding, that can provide benefits of, added efficiency, right? And keeping projects on time and under budget. All of those things are important roles as a project manager, right?
Of course. So getting the information from the beginning, as I said, minimizes the mistakes, minimizes any confusions, which means we stay on our milestones. And when we don't have to rework anything from the beginning and we stay on time, that makes profit for us, because the more hours you put on the project and the more materials you buy, your profits decreases. So just getting the correct information from the customer from the beginning, and also knowing the customer's status. So a lot of our customers are, they change their installation dates. They push it, so they give us a ship date, for example, like in June, and then something happens on their end, they push it till July or August. This way I don't have to expedite parts, I don't have to expedite the engineering process, I don't have to put overtime. That saves us the time and the money, and I change the priorities of the project. So contacting the customer all the time helps the project to stay on time and under budget.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic, and providing those benefits, I think, is a fantastic byproduct of having a really good project manager, like you were describing. And one of the other byproducts is it helps foster that strong relationship with the client, right? And that's really important from your perspective, also, is just to have that foundation with a client, so that you know what they're trying to accomplish, their goals, and that's an important thing for a company to keep in mind, and another reason why project management is so important.
Correct. So with me, so when first get the project, I like to do a project confirmation meeting. That's when I kind of take the project from the sales rep and I become the main point of contact with the customer. I do that meeting just to confirm basic information like these, equipment specifications, the product specifications, things like that. So that's when I start with our relationship. So I give them dates. This is what I'm going to do next. I tell them about the process, that I do an approval drawing, I do a kickoff, we go to the engineering process and then production, and then we purchase the parts. And if they would like to come over for an FAT, things like that. So that's when also they get my contact information. Now, a lot of my customers have my cell phone number because things happen during installation, things happen on weekends. They give me a call. Now, I'm not sure if it was a good decision to put my phone on my email, but it helped in a lot of cases. So they call me anytime. They text me. They send me emails. They come to our office. So this relationship, just having someone contact them all the time, makes them feel comfortable to call whenever, to discuss any problems, to ask for status, and even if, for example, we're behind on dates, that relationship makes them feel like they're okay. They will let it go just because they know we're doing our best. I've been giving them statuses on the project. They know we're working hard, but our vendor, for example, sent a part late or something like that. So they are more understanding when there is a connection.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Just making that personal connection with people, I think, does make a huge difference. Even if giving your cell phone number and email out might cause some extra work sometimes and that sort of thing. But I think you're absolutely right about that. And one of the other things that you've said in the past that I think is really interesting is that a good project manager can be your best salesperson. Explain what you mean by that and how a good project manager can really benefit on the sales side.
Sure. So usually our sales rep are the people who brings projects in here, and then I take it from there. Now I try to keep the sales rep as involved as possible. Nothing that they have to do, but knowledgeable about the project and where we at with it. I try to keep them on the emails and everything else. but the customer, once I start the project, the customer only contacts me. So they learn everything about the project from me. If they have any question, they ask me. So they will remember my name for a very long time, just because I'm the person who are emailing them all the time. They have my number, they have my email address. So I've had multiple customers calling me for future projects, or for something they're working on, or for a new line they're adding. And I tell them that I'll let the sales rep contact you, and sometimes they won't remember who it was, just because I was the person in contact all the time. And so they have my number saved on their phones. So if they need any equipment, any conveyor, anything, they would just call me, just because they know I'm working there. And they probably won't remember who will the sales rep were, or what their name was, things like that, or numbers. So they just contact me. They're trying to give me the new project. And that's why I was like, just having that constant relationship with the customers. I'm making connections, and when they need anything, I would be the person for them to contact.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great point, is that you've become that point person for them. And so you doing well in your role and keeping in constant contact with them, keeping them updated on status of projects and that sort of thing, makes you the go-to person in that case. And so having a strong person in that project management role can obviously lead to future sales and things like that you mentioned. I think that's a great point. So Amanda, as we begin to wrap up our conversation here today on project management and the importance of having a good project manager, how would you maybe summarize our conversation, or is there anything we haven't touched on yet that you'd like to mention before we sign off today?
Sure. One thing I should, of course, mention is being a good project management is one thing, and having a good team is also another thing. So with me, I feel successful, not just because I think I'm doing well. I think everyone in Benda Manufacturing, the whole team over here, they do a great job too. And they understand the importance of project management. They always, before they make any decision on a design change or requirement change and anything, they always come to me and they ask me, they because they know that, no, I know the project kind of the most, because I'm the person in contact with both parties, internal and external. So they always keep me informed with any delays, with any statuses, vendors, lead times, or the engineering process in general. They share with me their designs. I share it with the customer. So it's the communication between everyone here, with myself and my team, and with the customer, and with Benda in general. So project management, the project manager would be successful, or even more successful, when they have a great team. And I think that's what we have here.
No, that's an excellent point. It's all about the team, and the project manager is an important member of the team, but you still have to have that group of people around that are carrying out their jobs and responsibilities well. And so that's a great point. That's a great point. So Amanda Dahshan, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast today on Conveying Progress, and just explaining a little bit more about the purpose of a project manager, how important they are, the roles that you carry out, and the importance of it throughout an organization. Thank you so much once again for joining us here on the show.
Thank you very much, Tyler, for your time.
And everyone, thank you for joining us for this episode of Conveying Progress, a podcast from the experts at Benda Manufacturing. If you liked the podcast, make sure you go subscribe to stay up to date with the latest from Benda. You can go do that on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can also go to their website to learn more about Benda Manufacturing and to learn more about what they provide. And stay tuned, because we'll be back soon with more episodes of the show. But for my guest today, Amanda, I've been your host today, Tyler Kern. Thanks so much for listening.